Hi there. This is Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks. And tonight I am here to talk about making choices. Do we compromise or can we find a better way? And I think you'll find that this is a pretty complicated conversation. So I hope that you join us and that you join in. But before we get into it, I'm first going to introduce you to sweet baby James, who is going to introduce our show.
Yes, welcome to Granny Rocks Our World, otherwise known as GROW. And this takes place now every Monday and Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, where we have the opportunity to discuss different topics of interest in our personal lives and in our lives in our society. So now, without further ado, let's turn it over to Granny, where we can hear her wit, her wisdom, and her uncommon sense.
Always optimistic. Okay, first of all, let's say hello to some of our friends who've already said hi to us. Elizabeth says hi, Beth and James.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Helen said Helen and Richard are here. Hello,
So are we.
Helen and Richard. Amy says hi, Beth and sweet baby James. I love this tricky conversation. Hello, Amy. I'm glad you do. Luann has her
Waves.
eyes way open and she's waving and we wave back. Tracy says hello and we say hello. Tracy, she's already sent us a heart. I think I should quit now. You know, okay. Well, first of all, I want to tell you what has brought this to mind today. There is a reason. As you know, as Sweet Baby James has mentioned, we've now moved to a Monday, Wednesday schedule for GROW. And that's partly because on Thursdays we are doing another live stream where I just play the piano and it's called Dreams of Peace. And it is amazing. I can't believe what's happening with that show. We are getting worldwide support. I mean, every minute somebody else is liking the show, and likes and loves, you know, from Mandalay to Ghana to Romania to New York City. And and Tracy said hello to you too. Hello,
And also Terry. Hi,
Did I say
Terry.
Tracy? I meant to say Terry. Thank you. So what does this have to do with, you know, getting all these likes and loves on Facebook? Well, you know, Facebook, people are talking about Facebook. I mean, it has done a lot of crummy things. And, you know, do I have any integrity left if I am on Facebook? So that is a very good question, right? So, you know, what's happened is Facebook has made information available to this Cambridge Analytica, and they helped the Trump campaign, or so they said, and so it can be pretty confusing. So anyway, I'm asking myself, should I be on Facebook? Well, you know something? I am on Facebook, and I am continuing. Todd says, hi there, Beth and James. Hi there, Todd. And Kate says, hi, GR and SVJ. I love that. Okay. So the point is, I'm on Facebook, and you know why I'm on Facebook? Because you are on Facebook. And I don't want to be like, oh, I am so holier than now I'm leaving Facebook. And then how do I get to talk to you? How there is billions of people in the world. I can't believe that we are reaching out to Asia, to Africa, to South America, to Europe, to Australia, New Zealand, throughout the U.S., and that we are actually getting an audience. And those people have spilled over from Dreams of Peace to GROW. And so it has made a huge difference in our ability to reach people, right? And so if I say, well, I don't want to be on Facebook because Facebook is corrupt, well, then I can sit and talk to myself in my room, you know, because the truth is that Facebook is still, I believe, the largest social media network there is. And I want to reach out to everybody. So I'm sitting around saying, oh my God, what kind of a creep am I? You know, but there is a reason, there is a method to the madness. So that made me start thinking about it. And Irene said, hi, Beth and James. Hello, Irene. So glad to see you. So I'm feeling like I'm compromising. Oh my God, Compromising, I can't stand compromising. Well, because compromise makes me feel ashamed, conflicted, resentful. I don't want to compromise. I want it my way. And I'm ashamed because I feel like I've sold out my integrity, and conflicted because what am I supposed to do? And so, and then feelings of compromises also brings up feelings of being dominated. It's like, why am I compromising with this jerk? So anyway, that's what made me start thinking about this whole thing. Now, I hope you're glad I started thinking about this, because I want to talk about this in a very strong way. Can I stay on Facebook and still feel like I have integrity? Can you stay on Facebook and still feel like you have integrity? Do you have this creepy, crawly feeling that they're spying on you? Well, they probably are. But all advertisers spy on us, right? But I look at this and I say, is it for the highest good of all for me to be on Facebook today? Today, maybe not tomorrow, but certainly today.
And the answer is?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you are there. And because, oh my God, I want to tell you, I got the most sweet comment on Dreams of Peace this morning from a person in, I forget where exactly,
Near Bangladesh?
No, it's in what used to be called Myanmar, I believe. Anyway, I'm not sure, but I think it was Myanmar.
That's right.
In Asia. And he said, thank you for bringing me into a world of serenity and peace. And I thought, oh my God, that is so important. We so desperately need serenity and peace, but I'm going to take my marbles and I'm going to leave because I don't want to be on Facebook, because I don't want you to have a judgment about me, because, oh my God, you're going to have a judgment about me, right? So how many times is it that we really feel like we lack integrity, or we're afraid that other people are going to not think well of us? God forbid that should ever happen, right? So how do we make this choice? And I've already given you the clue, haven't I? But before I get into how we get into this question of what is for the highest good of all, I want to talk about all kinds of compromises that we make all the time. There's two kinds of compromises that just pop into my head. Compromise with others, like, oh, sweet baby James wants to paint the bathroom, lavender, and I want to paint it green, right? And so, well, what are we going to do? Do make a compromise, and we'll have, stripes, lavender and green stripes, But that's compromising with another person. I was like, all right, if you really want it to be lavender, then I get to pick the color of the bathroom, right? I'm going to make that turquoise or something like that, right? So that's kind of a shitty way of doing things. Everybody feels crummy. Nobody feels like really heard or valued, or it doesn't feel right. It feels kind of crummy. But then there's the other kind of compromises, is when you're compromising with yourself. So and the compromise with yourself is acting in a way that makes me doubt my own integrity. Shall I say that again? It's acting in a way that makes me doubt my own integrity. So if I'm compromising with sweet baby James, I could be doubting my own integrity. If I am compromising my own values, let's say with Facebook, then I'm doubting my own integrity. Well, so that brings up a lot of crummy feelings, doesn't it? Okay. And Ari said, hi, Beth and James, and we say hi back to Ari. So let's look at the kinds of choices that we face, and then I'm going to talk about how we resolve this. So let's say this is a compromising between us. What kind of wedding do we have? I want a wedding that nobody comes to. And he wants a wedding where he invites 200 people, so everybody knows how popular he really is, right? So that doesn't feel good to me, right? So then, it's like, oh, but this is your special day, so I should make it good for you. Oh, no, it's your special day, so I should make it good for you, right? So that's a kind of compromise. Should we buy a house, or should we consider renting when one feels one way and the other one feels the other way? Should you go out with the boys every week and leave me at home alone eating bonbons, which is what I do when you're not here, or wondering whether or not you're really out with the boys, right? So those kind of things.
Or the girls.
The girls. Yes, indeed. Well, and you could be gay, so going out with the boys could be just as bad. So there's a whole issue here about feeling dominated and squelched when we have those compromises with each other. But then what about other kinds of feelings, that come up that we may not even be so clear on, and we argue about it because really neither of us knows. For instance, do we even get married? Tam says hi, and hi back to you, Tam. So glad to meet you. I don't know if we've ever met you before. At least, I don't know that you've ever spoken to us.
She shares your last name.
I know.
Oh.
I don't divulge people's last name on the show. I'm just thinking, because I just don't know whether people want to be anonymous or not. So, do we save money for our kids' education, or do we use it to provide medical care to one of us?
Mm.
We can feel a lot of inner conflict. And then we start arguing about it, right? One of us will take a position because actually neither of us wants to make that choice. It's like, no, because I'm going to look like a bad parent if we use that money for ourselves. And I'm going to look like a good parent if or what is the kid going to think? Or what happens if a Harvard costs $100,000 a year by the time the kid grows up, and we want that kid to get a Harvard education?
What if we're going to die if we don't get medical care?
Well, exactly. But supposing we don't send them to Harvard and then they don't have enough money to support us in our old age. Of course, and we would need that because we've already spent all of our money on our child's education. So you see, there's a lot of areas where we can. Sherry Lee says, howdy. Howdy, Sherry
Howdy
Lee.
back.
Another person we haven't met before. Hello. Not on chat. Anyway. So do we keep supporting an addicted daughter?
Mm.
You know what I mean? That is a very difficult thing. And does one say yes and the other say no? And is that really just really hiding the inner conflict? Should I drive an electric car? Yeah, I'd love to, but I don't have the money, or I've got to go more than, that distance, or, where we live, is that a practical thing? Can we afford it? Should I run for president?
Yeah.
That only came up because in one of the recent shows, somebody said, Beth Green for president. Should I support a political figure who supports my agenda, even if he is personally reprehensible?
A lot of people are doing that.
A lot of people are doing that. So what are we noticing about these things? First of all, a lot of times we really don't know what to do ourselves, and then we polarize and we start arguing because we really don't know what to do. Secondly, we often feel ashamed of the choice that we make because we feel like we're being dominated or screwed in some way. Third is we can feel judgmental towards other people who are making compromises, like that person who supports, going for a person who supports your agenda, even if he is personally reprehensible or does a lot of other things that you don't agree with. So you see what I'm saying? This is not an easy subject, is it? And if we get really honest, which is the operable word, if, then we have to look at, oh my God, how do I really feel about this, what I'm doing? Not what do the neighbors think or what's going to get someone elected, but how do I feel about this? And I'm not saying what you would choose. I'm just saying that you can see that these difficult choices where we feel like we are making compromises, where we're compromising our values, or we're compromising with another person, we can feel ashamed, or worse than that, we get defensive. We don't want to say, oh yeah, I feel really shitty about that choice, but no, this is a choice from God. This is a very righteous choice, right? And then we can pull that on our partner. It's like, it's the right thing to support our addicted daughter who's been in rehab 5 times. And I don't really care if you have whatever it is, cancer of the nose, James. We need to be supporting our daughter, or who cares about our own future? This life is at stake. We can get so on the high course to try to defend choices that we feel really insecure about to be totally true. Susan Diaz says, hi, my husband and I never agree on anything, LOL. but we always work things out. 35 years and going strong. Good for you, Susan. Now, if you feel like you've been dominated, or if he feels that he's being dominated, that is not going to work in the long run. You must have found a much better way of working things out, and I congratulate you. So I talked about we are feeling ashamed of ourselves, feeling defensive about compromising, and then getting on our high horses to pretend that we're holier than thou. We judge other people for doing it. So what is the alternative if we don't agree with each other, and if I don't agree with myself? Okay. So
on one hand and on the other hand.
And then on the other hand. So, oh my God, I'm almost running out of time. Right before well, I brought it up before. What is for the highest good of all? Now, I have to start with the assumption that there really is a right answer in every situation. Now, you don't have to believe that. I can't make you believe something, but I want to start with the assumption that there is a better choice at the very least, right? Of what is the better choice. So, for example, I'm going to say something really silly. If you paint that kitchen orange and it makes me insane and I take out a gun and kill someone, I'm pretty sure that is not for the highest good of all.
Right.
I mean, we have to look honestly about the consequences of, are we really battling it out because we're in some kind of an ego battle? No, I don't want to feel dominated by you, and I don't really even care how this impacts you, Or let's look at the consequences to one of us. Oh, yes, I really want to go, do this, and I'm leaving you alone, and you can't be left alone because you're too sick. And do I really need to do that? So maybe it really isn't in the highest good for me to go out with the boys. Of course, you would never do that to me, James. But without using the big club of, well, if you cared about me, you would never paint the kitchen orange, which we don't want to do either. It's just like using it as a club. I say we have to believe that there is, if not the absolutely right answer, there is certainly the better answer. Now, that better answer may only be for today. We may check in, and I'm going to talk about checking in a minute, and get that it really is better not to use orange in the kitchen because it has such an effect, because I was in a war and I have PTSD and everybody was wearing orange outfits and I'm, traumatized. Well, then, why the hell would you even want to have orange, right? Because that smells like really trying to hurt me, right? So there can be a better choice. And tomorrow I could wake up and say, I went through this. I really have looked at this. I don't want to be dominated by that experience anymore. Paint that wall orange. I want to live through this, get through my pain and my trauma. See what I mean? Looking deeper to see whether or not this is a moment to get over that trauma, or to say this is not a moment to push you to get over that trauma, because that's going to be terrible. Is it in the highest good of all? So how do we tell? Well, what we do is what we call the check-in process. And I'm going to talk very fast about this because, of course, I'm out of time, right? And in the check-in process, we go into our higher consciousness. Some of us say we ask God. And then what we'll say is it for the highest good of all, including me, for us to support our addicted daughter one more time? And then we go very neutral and we go into our inner voice and we ask ourselves, what is the truth here? What feels right? First, you have to talk it through. You can't just rush into these things. You have to talk it through. You have to talk about all the issues. And then you check in. And at that moment, if you can be really, really neutral, I bet you 9 times out of 10, something is going to come to you that you're going to know. When I asked myself the question, is it for the highest good of all, including that lovely older man to whom I gave in Myanmar, to whom I gave 15 minutes of peace and serenity for me to continue to work on Facebook, I got a resounding yes. It wasn't even a question. It was like, yes. Some things are harder to get the answer because there's so much emotion involved. That's why talking things through is important. But it's like I want to turn these things over to an authority higher than my ego, than my opinions, than my own emotions. And that's so important. Shauna says, I'm listening. Hi, Granny and James. Oh, so good to see you, Shauna. So as we're coming to the end of our time today, I want to ask you to try out this tool. Be willing. In a situation like that, is really just asking myself, is it for the highest good of all, including me, to stay on Facebook? And the answer was yes. But if you're doing it, if you and a partner are involved, you can ask that question too. It's the commitment to neutrality. It's the commitment to find out what is true. It is a willingness to let go of the guilt of making a choice that can be embarrassing. It is the commitment to go with the love instead of with the appearance of things.
And so you don't have to compromise. You
You
can
never
check in
compromise.
and get what's for the highest good and support that.
And we've been using this, many of us, since I wrote a book called Living with Reality, which is a free download on bethgreen.org. And you can go to bethgreen.org and you'll see, I think it's towards the bottom of the page, a big button that you can sign up, click on, and you can get a free copy of this book. And there's a lot more detail about this. But I ask you to think about how much pain there is on our planet because people are compromising and resenting, dominating, feeling dominated, and not feeling whole and loved in the process. I can't believe I have to go. I'm way over time. So hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Pacific time.
Dreams of Peace, piano.
And if you can't watch
Peaceful
it then,
piano
of
music.
course, you can always watch it afterwards because it stays on Facebook for a while, And all of our archives are on Granny Rocks TV on YouTube, which isn't probably any better than Facebook. And please come back Mondays and Wednesdays for our show. We love you. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.